Hi, everyone. My name is Hillary Flint. I'm the Director of Communications and Community Engagement at Beaver County Marcellus Awareness Community. We do a monthly webinar where we talk about different issues that people in Beaver County are facing and give you tools. And today we are so excited to welcome FracTracker, one of our wonderful partners who always creates just the most incredible tools for us to empower our community to look at the tools, look at the pollution around them and map that out and see what that looks like. So I want to introduce Matt Kelso and Colin Smith, who will be walking through FracTracker's app today. BCMac has been a part of this app process for a long time. Dr. Lau, our board members on the call, and he has been a part of this for years. We've been so excited to see this launch, and we do believe it's going to be just so impactful for our community in a way that we can really, show the DEP what we're going through and connect with community members. So I am going to turn it over to Matt. And Matt, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself and FracTracker and get started. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thanks, Hillary, for that great introduction. I am Matt Kelso. I'm the manager of data and technology with FracTracker. I'm here with Colin Smith, our data integration specialist, and we're here to talk to you today about the FracTracker mobile app. And this is something that was made possible from funding from Mosaic, and the app itself was built by Viable. So we're giving them a little shout out here. Let me share my screen, and you can see what I'm talking about. Okay. So and thanks BC for inviting us here today to talk about this. We appreciate the opportunity. Um, so if you don't know about FracTracker, this is our mission. We map, analyze, and communicate the risks of oil, gas, and petrochemical development to advance just energy alternatives that can protect public health, natural resources, and the climate. And this is our address, www.fractracker.org. And we want to talk to you today about our mobile app, as I said. And this is a mobile app that's available right now. It's free for everybody, and there's three ways to participate. All of them can be accessed through this link right here, which is www.fractracker.org/apps. So we have an iOS version for people using iPhones. We have uh, Android for in the Google Play Store, and we also have a web version of the app. And you don't need to download an app on your phone if you don't want. You could access this on your laptop, for example, and they can all be accessed with again buttons on this link here, fractracker.org/apps. The FracTracker app has been around for quite a while. The earliest version was 2013. The process got started in 2013, and then the earliest version came out in 2014. And we had a major upgrade in 2017 where we added an activity feed, different kinds of icons to represent the senses and the different industries that people were reflecting on. And the web app version became available in 2018. It was a lot more limited than it is now. Um, the version of the app that we're talking about today is a complete overhaul. We've been working on this for more than a year, and um, we want to give a shout out to Viable for helping with this development of this app. So why would you want to use the FracTracker app? So it allows users to document and share observed environmental health concerns from oil and gas infrastructure activities. It provides access to information and data visualizations to understand the scope of the fossil fuel industry. Uh, it helps to share experiences of others living near fossil fuel infrastructure, and provides pathways to advocate for the environment, health, and safety. In a nutshell, I'm going to pass it off at this point to Cullen for a live demonstration. Um, this slideshow does have a lot of details for some of the things that he's going to be talking about, and we'll make those slides available. So if anybody would like um, to see that and you miss something, don't worry, it'll be covered in the slideshow if you want to access that later on. So I'm going to stop sharing and pass it off to Cullen.
Thanks, Matt and Hillary. Hi, I'm Colin Smith, the data integration specialist at FracTracker. As Matt mentioned, I'm going to walk you through the steps to use the app and be a part of the community. So I'm just going to start out from the absolute beginning. Once you download it, you're not going to have login information. So go down to about halfway through your app. What I'm using today is the iPad version. So this is almost exactly what it's going to look like on your iPhones. Androids are basically the same, and the web application Matt mentioned is almost the same, but just on your browser. So register, fill out your first name and last name. These don't have to be verifiable. You just need to stick something in here so we have something to communicate back with you. The email does have to be something that you do check once in a while, because that is how we are able to communicate with you if you forget your password or want notifications, and we'll mention that later on. And then sign up. You need to have a strong password. These red X's will turn green once you complete or satisfactorily stick in the characters as required. And then our terms and conditions is a link right here. It'd be great if you could go through that. And then it's actually pretty short, so it's not a complete waste of time. We do recommend going through that. You have to click agree and then go to create my account. And here's where you stick in your alias in case you don't, if you do put your full name in and you don't want that to show up, you can stick an alias in here. And then a brief description for a bio. And then this is the last step here. You can click whether you want to show your full name or the alias that you just input in the last screen. And then the second one is enable push notifications. That's if other people join your campaign or if somebody adds reports to your campaign, you'll get push notifications to your phone. And so now you're in. This is the Discover page. It's basically where your reports are, the campaigns are, the organizations are, and if you want to create a campaign or organization, we'll be coming back to the screen, but we're going to head over to the profile. We're going to go across the bottom here from right to left, and we'll start off with the profile. So that information that you stick in the beginning, it's able to be edited later on. If you want to come in here and change your name, last name, the alias, the bio can be changed. And also if you change your mind about showing your full name, you can toggle that on and off here. And same with the push notifications. That'll save, you get a little notification on the bottom. Then you have your logout and you have your delete profile in case you want to completely remove your entire profile from our database. It'll erase it completely from there. And then help will take you to our website where we have supplemental information that'll help you go through different stages of the app if you have questions. And if you have feedback for us to make it better in the future, you can click here and fill out a form. So this is where your reports will show up. And then this middle tab here, this is where your campaigns will show up. And then this third one, if you save reports, campaigns, or organizations, they'll show up here so they're easy to find later. Again, this is the Discover page. These are the reports that other people have submitted. You can click on the title up here and it'll give you a running list of all the reports rather than the short scroll that we have going on here. Same thing with campaigns. And these are all the campaigns in the app that are public. These aren't just ones that I've joined because I just created this account, so I'm not part of any of them. In order to join campaigns, you can click on more information to go into a campaign, and then it'll give you the campaign leader who created the organization or campaign who created the campaign, a brief description of what the campaign is, how many members are in here, how many reports are here. We're gonna join the campaign. So this one uses your real name. It's a setting that I'll show you later on that campaign managers can toggle on or off. Some can let you use your alias, or some can force you to use your information that you provided when you signed up. So if you want to be extra careful about using the aliases, you can submit a nickname inside the setup in your user profile. And then we'll join. So these are some settings that you toggle on and off in each campaign that you join. If you want to get a notification to your phone for new announcements, for new comments on the announcements, for new goal updates, you can toggle these on here. Go save and go back. And in this middle section, campaigns are able to set up goals if they want to get a certain number of petitions for each campaign. Say they wanted to get 100. You can keep track of the progress in the progress bar here. And down below are the announcements. There's none in this one yet. The reports, all the reports for this campaign show up in the middle. And then there's a chat. Be able to communicate with others in the campaign. This acts more as a comment section than a live direct communication between you and the others. So just keep that in mind. And then in this report section, you're able to click on the reports and it'll take you to that report. So up here, you notice that most of them are red except for one. This blue one is where this report was submitted from. Go back. And similarly, if you go up to this reports button in the middle here, and you click on that, it will take you to where the campaign is centrally located and highlight the reports that are within the campaign in blue. And all the reports that are otherwise in the app are in red. Now we'll go ahead and create a report. So you do that by going to this middle icon on the bottom of your app. The date, you're able to change it if it's a report that you came across and want to submit on a previous date. Otherwise, it just defaults to the current date. Put a title in. And then be as descriptive as you can, just so that other people have a better idea of what the situation is that you're trying to notify them about. And in this middle section here, you need to choose one of these. If it doesn't fall in any of the above to your liking, we do have an other, but we'll make this one a compressor station, and you'll notice that the icon turns blue. If you are on your phone and you want to add a photo, you click this middle section here and it'll take you to your camera. First, it'll prompt you for permissions to use your camera. And then in the map section here, you can either type in the address or coordinates. You can move the map itself, or you can click this button here and it'll zoom right to your location. We'll just set in Tennessee for this time being. The use my location is here as well. So in this drop down here, you're able to 17 of the 38 states that currently have wells, we have, I believe that's correct, 17 of the 38. We have regulators that we submit this to. If you want to submit it to the regulators, you can click yes here. If you do not want to do that, or it's not available in your state, it'll default to no. One thing to note about that is when it does get sent to the regulators, twice a day, the back end gets scraped and sends it along for you. So you don't have to do anything else other than fill out this report. Once it gets sent to the agency, you'll get an email back from reportingapp@fractracker.org. Down below, there's this is public. If you toggle this on, then everybody can see it. If you toggle it off, it'll remain hidden within just your viewing. We'll toggle it on for the time being. Be able to save it as a draft or submit the report. We'll submit this one. Again, it double checks that you want to save this or submit it. And then it takes you to the dashboard, which is the bottom left icon. We're going to come back to this, but we're going to go back to this Plum Borough campaign by clicking the Discover. And then in campaigns, we'll go to Plum Borough. And since we're a member of this campaign, we're able to add that report to the campaign. Now, a note about this is it's not going to show up right away. The campaign manager has permissions to accept or deny reports. It's the setting that they can turn on or off. It's just so that they can kind of keep out all the spam if they feel that they do not want the report to be showing up within their campaign. Once I get through all the features, I'll enter a verified account and show you how to do that. So now I'll take you to the map. That's the second one from the left. And these are the reports that are currently in the application. We'll zoom into Pennsylvania a little bit. In this bottom right corner, this is where our layers are toggled on and off. So you notice that the reports are on. The oil and gas wells. So this is an extremely large layer. There's just under 5 million records. At this point, it's a generalized layer. So you're not going to see individual points with information. If you zoom in, that's when it transitions to the individual points and you're able to see a description of the name field of the wells. Then we have compressor stations. These also have the name. Toggle these on and off. Toggle on plants. We'll head over here to the Shell cracker plant. Make this smaller. So you notice that the plants are on. For some of these layers, there are multiple sublayers. So under plants, for example, you have the cracker in the beginning and then the name afterwards. And at these plants, you can see that there's also the red notifications for the reports. So you can click on these, and then you can click on the report, and it'll take you to the report that somebody has previously submitted. Up top here, you're able to filter by the date. So you notice they disappeared. We'll switch the year back a little bit. 22. And then they reappear. Because you notice that the date is March 29th, 2023. And then again, if you just want to find your location, there's this button up here in the top left corner that says get my location, and it'll zoom straight to your location. Now we'll go to the dashboard, which is the farthest to the left icon on the bottom. This first tab is the radius feed. We're gonna add a new one. The radius are in miles. Oops. Seven in there. The map functions as every other map in the app so far, so we'll just type in a search location. That should be close enough for now. Then add the radius. And it'll pop up in here. So any reports that have been placed within 7 miles of my point are going to show up in this little feed right here. You can add as many of these as you want. They'll just stack one on top of each other going down. In this second tab up here, these are the campaigns you're involved in. It's just another way to get to them. Organizations. Notification or alerts. This is where your notifications start populating. So if I was in if this was a previously used account, this will be populated with people joining my campaigns or new reports in the campaigns that I'm in, that sort of thing. I believe that's what I intended to go over for the general user. And then I'm going to log out and log in as a verified user, just to show you some examples for the campaign settings. Log out. And since this is an admin account, you notice that these campaigns now have a bar across the top saying campaign leader. That means that I have access to the controls for each of these campaigns. For the typical campaign leader, they're only going to have a campaign leader on the one that they're actually leading. These other ones will not have this bar on top like the previous account had. And then this menu bar up here is where the edit campaign is hidden. This is where you can come in and change the campaign name, the mission, any associated links. You can put your website in there if you would like. The zoom level is regarding the map. So city or regional. This is for when you zoom to the map in the reports that I showed you previously. I'll show you it again in a second, and then we're going to put this one southeast, just for the time being. And then down below, this is where you toggle on the permissions that if you don't want people outside of your campaign to be able to see anything, then you can toggle the displays off. And down below, you can automatically approve members if you don't want to have to pay attention and verify every person joining your campaign. If you do have this toggled off, you do get email notifications that people are trying to join your campaign, so you don't have to continuously check the app. We'll save, we'll go back, go to reports. And now you notice that the campaign moved from Plum Township to Southeast Pennsylvania. I think that covers pretty much anything. Matt or Shannon, is there anything that you would also like to highlight?
I have a few more things to add to it, but I can just go back to sharing my screen now if that's all right.
Okay.
And um, I do think with this tool, it's fair to offer everyone um, a few words of caution. Is my slide showing up here? It says a few words of caution.
Yes, we see it.
Okay, I can't see it on mine. So the FracTracker app does take out the latitude longitude coordinates from your photo, but the coordinates are associated in the app. Um, and in addition to that, AI is getting very good at determining where photos were taken. So all of that said, please don't trespass with this app. I think it's important to just be mindful of safety. We'd hate to see somebody um, get hassled for where they took their photo. So just be mindful of that. Um, and then in addition, there are changing infrastructure laws, critical infrastructure laws that make it difficult to document some of this stuff in some states. So far here in Pennsylvania, it's not too bad. I think Ohio is okay too, for those of you across the border. But certainly some places in the country, it's getting kind of hostile in that regard. So please do keep an eye out for those kinds of news stories as you submit data on this app. Um, and then what else? Yeah, so I think we're at the question stage. If anyone has questions for us, please let us know.
Just gonna step in real quick.
Yeah.
We did just breeze through the campaigns and organizations. We'd be more than happy to set some time aside for people at a later date if they want to shoot us an email and set up some time to go through a more like detailed walkthrough.
Yeah, for sure. And then, as I said earlier, I'll also make these slides available. I know that we went over a lot of content very quickly, so we'll make the slides available so that you can refer back to it.
Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, I had a question about trespassing. A lot of our cell phones, we could zoom right in on criminal activity. Uh, where do we stand on that? We're not going on the property, we'd be on a public street. We could zoom in on a criminal activity and film it. We still use that?
Yeah, I would say go for that. Just be careful of where you're standing, I think, is what I was really trying to get across.
Thank you. And I want to uplift, Brooke had in the chat, is Pennsylvania one of the states that submits to regulators? And yes. And then she said, which regulators would the reports go to?
Yes, it is. Ohio is as well. I'll put the list of them up here. There you go. It goes to the DEP. Um, I think in the future we're planning to see whether we can make options for people available, whether you want to have something sent to the oil and gas division of the DP or the air permits or air quality or water quality divisions of DP. Um, uh, I think some people have suggested the health department. Um, that's a little complicated because some places have their own health department. So it's all ideas that we're looking to expand on, but we haven't expanded on it yet. So right now they go to the DEP.
Thank you for that. And I'm going to drop in the chat. So to go along with this, BCMAC created our own campaign. It's called Eyes on Pollution. And we created kind of a toolkit on how you can classify your reports because I was looking at the list and you go, oh, put this down as a pipeline? Would I put this down as a compressor station? So I tried to go through every facility I could think of in the county and figure out, what they would fall under. So I did that work for you already, and I just dropped that app toolkit in the chat. And if I missed anything, like, please let me know. I'll give my email at the end of this, and we'll make sure that's updated. But we wanted to make this as easy as possible for people in Beaver County to use. Right now, we take phone calls, emails, social media messages of community members reporting to us. And then we have to say, hey, also report to the DEP. In this case, you just have to do it one time. And we get the report, the DEP gets the report, and it's going to make it so much easier. And we really think, once the DEP starts seeing that more people are using this and they're getting these reports, that's how we make change. So we really hope people will use it. I know a couple residents on this call have already joined our campaign, so can't thank you enough there. And then I see in the chat, Shannon, who is the executive director at FracTracker, said, huge shout out to Dr. Lau and the whole BC Mac community for helping shape this app over the years, hosting the webinar and creating this toolkit. Shannon, thank you. FracTracker helps us really give visuals for what we're talking about. And with that, powered by the stories of our community members, that's how we win. So we thank you. Does anyone have any additional questions about the app? Nothing. Okay. Well, you can keep thinking about it, because I do want to make just another little announcement. BC Mac has a new webpage. Our Eyes on Pollution webpage is being launched today. And this is another place where you'll see towards the end of that webpage, we list many different types of maps, many of them from FracTracker, different tracker opportunities. We're trying to deliver all the tools that we can to you so you can map the harms around you. So working really, really hard on that. And then before I get to Emily's question, we do have in the chat, Brooke asked, where is the oil and gas well data coming from and the other layers of data?
Yeah, that's a great question. We get the oil and gas well data from all of the oil and gas producing states. So it's a state by state database that we have aggregated and standardized. I think that's one of the challenges of those is that not everybody talks about stuff in the same way. So we've tried our best to standardize that and make those available. A lot of the other data sets come from other federal agencies. Some of them come from the Department of Homeland Security has the site HIFLD. That's actually going away, but we have their data. Some of it comes from Energy Information Administration. There's a data layer from FracTracker of pipelines that are pretty accurate. There's some other pipeline data from those other sources that are very much not accurate, but we've included them for the sake of for the sake of use, since they do exist. But yeah, so a variety of sources for the data, and of course the reports are from all the people who've made submissions over the years.
Thank you. Emily, do you want to ask your question?
Oh yeah, sure. I just had a quick question about this is great. This seems like an awesome app. I'm excited to explore it. And it was just if you can upload screenshots, like as well as pictures. Like I'm curious if the Breathe Cam photos from that or like Purple Air Map screenshots. I don't know if that's the right use of this, but
Yeah, you should be able to do that. I would say that might be easier to do on the web app version of it than the mobile app version, just because there's more tools for capturing screenshots. Although it can probably be done. I actually um, hadn't really thought about using it for screenshots, but it could probably be done on the mobile app versions as well. But it could definitely be done on the web app.
Yeah, I think it does work. But that is a great question. We'll look into that. We have another question from Michael in the app, or in the chat. Does the app work for other states? And what are the states that the app will automatically report information to state regulators?
Yeah, the app works anywhere in the world. And let me go back to this list here. These are the states that we have currently um, figured out a way to have it directly report to regulators. I should give some credit here to Lana Greer and her team at the University of Chicago. They did a lot of work in developing this particular part of the app. So we have the states listed here: Alabama, Alaska, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Kentucky, Nebraska, New Mexico, Nevada, North Dakota, Ohio, Pennsylvania, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, and West Virginia.
And I happen to know that Michael is from a state not on this list,
Oh
Louisiana.
no, sorry, sorry.
No, Louisiana, which is, a place where so much of the harm in this industry happens. You would really wish that there was a way to make that connection there. So, yeah, I don't know if
Yeah,
there's anything we can do to help advocate for that, but I know people in Louisiana need this tool too.
we definitely have plans to expand this to the other states as well. This is just the list of states that we currently have set up. So sorry that it's not there for you already in Louisiana.
And before I get to Bob, Gail said, why don't the other states participate? Is it just a tech issue of the back end?
Yeah, this has to be built out one by one, and so we did this in a pilot group of states, I think is the best way to explain it. I will say though, we've in the past reached out to all of these states. Some of them are maybe more interested in this than others. So if there's really something urgent, it might be a good idea to contact them in multiple ways. At least at first, we'd like to get some once these kinds of reports are submitted more regularly, we'd like to get more feedback on how the regulatory agencies are treating these, because there's a little bit of wiggle room there. I think a lot of regulatory agencies don't like to take anonymous reports, and this is not anonymous because there's a name associated with it. Um, but I think maybe sometimes they just, if something's not quite the way they normally do things, maybe it doesn't get done. So anyway, just be mindful of that. And if there really is something that's worth reporting, maybe at first it'd be good to report in multiple ways.
Bob, go ahead.
Yeah, I've been watching YouTube, and there's uh, groups from Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, and Florida. They all seem to tie their information together, watching the oil and gas industry, considering all of the oil and gas that's being drilled into the Gulf. And it affects all their beaches. And of course, that is something that they showed how to uh, have our agencies tie in through different uh, venues to get to the federal government to get them to follow up on all of the bad things that's been going on down in the Gulf for many years. And it affects everyone's lives and livelihoods down there. Uh, the shrimping, it poisons them, the beaches. There's a lot of livelihoods at stake along the Gulf Coast. And they have an extremely well put together program of environmental groups that do watchdog uh, things very similar to what we're doing now.
Thanks for that, Bob. We're so lucky to be tied into the larger picture through our coalition work with, groups like Break Free from Plastic. While we are facing this battle, we're not the only ones. And there are people all over the United States and the world. And, we are all working together. And I am so happy that we've been able to partner with people. I've sat in Washington, D.C. with some of those shrimpers Bob is talking about. And yeah, when we come together and when we fight together, that's when we win. Michael had a question in the chat. In Pennsylvania, when incidents are reported or called in, does the agency have responsibility to investigate the incident, or is it just logged in their records?
So, so we're talking about like when you submit a complaint to the Pennsylvania DEP, are they required to look into it? I believe they are. Um, they, um, yeah, my understanding is that they're required to look into it. I will say though that I sort of mentioned it before. It's really good to have some contact information so that they can contact you. When I've personally made submissions to DEP, they always reach out and want to know more, even if the information that they want to know is already on the form that I typed in, they still want to call you and talk to you about it. So putting your contact on there, your contact information, I think is really important.
Yes. And so technically they do have to investigate when you put in a report what that level of investigation looks like. It could just be making a phone call to you, like Matt mentioned. And I think seeing how they respond to these types of reports and how they come in, that'll be like a little bit of a test and we'll see what that looks like. But typically they do, like Matt said, call you back. They want more details. And sometimes it's like, well, we already told you that. And sometimes they'll make you explain things. Like you might say, oh, I saw on my purple air map that PM 2.5 was 160. And they know what you're saying, but they a lot of times will ask you to elaborate a little bit. But they are good at calling you. Now, sometimes it might take 24 hours. So if it's something really emergent, you might have to contact us so that we could put a little bit more, pressure on them, or we would see that in the app, which is a good thing. And then I do see that Brooke has a question. What specific information and reports do you want to see in the Eyes on Pollution campaigns? Um, I think that it's how it matters to you. If you are having a health impact and you look at your air monitor and you see that, the PM 2.5 is high in that area, or you go on the Eyes on Air webpage and you see, oh, it looks like a high ozone day, and you are having health impacts. If you are smelling something, in some cases, people might feel an impact. People might feel if there was an explosion or something like that. So really just the same thing that you would report in a typical report to a regulatory agency or to us. But keep in mind, this is public unless you can make it so that it doesn't show up in the campaign. There is, privacy features that you can control in that sense. But it's just about, what do you see? What do you feel? What do you hear? What do you smell? And how is that impacting you? And then I see that Colin got to Gail's question about who at the different states did they contact. And so once we have that, we're going to put this presentation on our website. So everyone will have information to that. And thanks, Shannon. Enjoy your farm chores. Does anyone have more questions before we move on? All right. Well, we don't have too much more tonight. I want to give a huge thank you to FracTracker and everyone who helped make this app possible. I think it's going to be so impactful. And alongside of this, we do need volunteers for our Eyes on Pollution campaign. So not only are we asking you to make reports, but sometimes we might want you to come out and do episodic testing with us or analyze data. And so Eyes on Pollution is also a volunteer program that we do alongside Breathe Project and Project Spotlight. Emily's here today, so that's someone who you might interface with during that. But this is just another layer of holding them accountable and actually going out there and getting these samples. And it can be kind of fun to go out there with Emily and Dr. Lau and see how these things work and see the type of evidence that you can collect. So I'm going to drop in the chat the Eyes on Pollution webpage and then also how to volunteer. It is linked on that webpage. So please, we need more people to do that. And yeah, I know that there has been a lot of reports coming out from the media and from Shell this week. If folks have not seen, Shell does have, at this point, new notices that we weren't aware about. And they also have what's called high priority violations, which means that the federal government has a serious concern about what they're doing. So I'm going to drop in the chat link to our press release that we put out. We are going to collect the media that we've received from that. But what we need to do is, push them. We need real-time notifications when these types of harms happen. And eventually, like Nadine said in the chat, we need more fines. Why has Shell been doing this and hasn't received a fine in years now? And so we're working really closely with community to ask for the things that you want to see and make that happen. It's not an easy process. It takes a long time, but we're definitely trying to push the PADEP, probably end up pushing Governor Shapiro eventually. So if you can uplift, that blog post that I just put in the chat, that would be super, super helpful because we need as many people as possible to know what's going on here. Bob, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question for Matt. I've had two inquiries here from out around the Raccoon State Park area to where the above ground pipelines. I know we've all been monitoring below ground pipelines, but the big heavy black pipelines that could be carrying fresh or backflow from the wells from one area to another so they don't have to truck it. Is FracTracker doing anything with above ground pipelines?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say that for the most part, we don't have that data for the waste flow, the waste water pipelines that you're talking about, or the water supply pipelines for that matter. That data is pretty hard to come by. Um, so if you happen to see that anywhere and it's something that we can add to what we have going on, we'd love to try to figure that out. But finding that data is pretty challenging. Even finding gathering line data that's reasonably accurate is pretty challenging. Some of the bigger gathering lines, like Revolution, is technically a gathering line. That one we have, but some of them are just not published anywhere that we've been able to find.
Yeah, there was a history of one of those above ground pipelines in Cross Creek County Park in Washington County, and it broke, and that was a trophy bass lake, and it pretty well wiped them out because in the wintertime that plastic would freeze and break. And I was concerned about, and not just me, but other people that call into me about backflow. Are they using that to get out from a remote site where they could get it onto a truck? Uh, these are some of the things that's been going on, and I think that we got to look a little deeper than just the buried pipes.
Yeah, and I would say if you come across that, that's just the sort of thing that we'd love to see on the app. So take a picture of that and share it with the rest of the world, just to get a sense of the kinds of things that are happening in your neighborhood.
Thank you.
And the great thing about FracTracker is, if we need to find something, I'm so sorry, Matt, but we know who to call. It's so good to have partners who can help you, solve these types of problems and find answers to these questions. Pretty recently, Matt went back to the 1930s on a map to help us locate an abandoned well that had disappeared off of every map after a certain date. And this community member was having health impacts, and, everyone in her community thought she was losing it. And we were able to go back between the help from Matt and between Physicians for Social Responsibility. They were able to bring what's called a FLIR imaging camera out. And then the DEP really had to take that complaint seriously. So if there are things like that and you have been complaining to the DEP and maybe you need some more evidence or you need us to give them a little nudge, we're very happy to do that. And it led to a solution. Now the DEP has actually classified that area as a Superfund site, which means they will be getting federal resources to cap that well and clean it up. And I think it's going to be a long, drawn out, messy process. But, imagine if we weren't able to find that out now. And the people in this community were living there and they were being exposed to this. That's a true health harm. So tools like this are what really bring home our stories and turn our stories into data as well. We need both to fight these battles. And we just could not thank FracTracker enough for all of the help they've been able to provide to Beaver County. So thank you. And I do want to say we have some upcoming events at BCMAC. We will have our Project Spotlight meeting next week. Oh, sorry about my dog wanted to make an appearance. We will have a Project Spotlight meeting next week. We're also going to the Beaver County Emergency Management meeting, the LEPC meeting later this month. And so all of those things can be found on our event RSVP page. If you don't follow us or you're not on our mailing list, please sign up for those things. We try to be very intentional around, what we post and what we share and how often we bug you. And the only thing that we need is more people in the community supporting that work and joining us in that work so that we can keep helping you. So I just truly appreciate everyone so much. I am going to stop recording and thank you again, FracTracker, and we hope to see everyone next month.